Sweet.
Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? And welcome back to the channel. Mustafa Talib here. And this is not April Fool's. I actually got down to 168.8 pounds, alhamdulillah, thank God. And I'm so shocked and surprised that I made it that far in my weight journey. And so thank you guys so much for watching and your continuous support on my journey in losing weight. A reflection that I had in the month of March was that life happens, and so you can't always meet your goals like you thought you would. So I did not get to do my workout regimen like I wanted to consistently and every single day. I did not hit those types of goals. However, what I did notice, especially that I traveled and I went to DC, you can check out that video right there in the corner, is that I did walk a lot in this month, which I think is actually a lot more effective than a lot of people realize. If you walk consistently, you will see great results just by doing walking every single day. And another thing that I did notice in the month of March was my portion control. I feel like I ate a lot more less, and that definitely was a contributing factor in my weight loss. Feeling full, even though I was eating less, if that makes sense, helped me lose that weight because I didn't need all that consumption. And speaking of weight loss, Ramadan is here. So Ramadan Mubarak to all those who commemorate and celebrate this time of fasting. It's a time for us to reflect and to reset ourselves. It's not just only fasting from food and drink, but also from our normal desires, and a way for us to discipline ourselves and create better and new habits that will better ourselves. So in terms of weight loss and wellness, I had sat down recently with dietitian Hamida-Diwan, and she's going to be sharing with us a few tips that you can learn for this Ramadan. Enjoy. Alrighty guys, so I am sitting here with Hamida-Diwan, who is a dietitian, and she's going to be telling us, the best tips for Ramadan in terms of our health and our diet. So Hanifa, thank you for joining me and talking about this. And so, yeah, let's just get right into it. What are some of the best tips you can give in terms of diet and health and nutrition during the month of Ramadan?
Well, my first and foremost, I would say hydration. Hydration is extremely important because, during these warm days, we're definitely going to get dehydrated. So making sure that you're drinking plenty. My tips would be making sure you're drinking at the time of suhoor, the breakfast meal, which obviously is before the sunrise and before the fast starts. Making sure you're drinking at least 8 to 9 cups if you're a woman and 13 cups if you're a man. Now, if you're exercising, make sure you're adding 2 or 3 cups more, because obviously you're going to be using that.
And when's the best time to exercise, actually?
Making sure you're exercising after iftar is probably the best time.
Right.
The iftar being the evening meal, so that you've actually replenished your nutrients and you've had some fluid, so that you're able to prevent muscle breakdown. Otherwise, that will tend to happen if you're not, that'll be your usage of energy otherwise.
Right,
so
right,
make sure you do that. And then basically just, so another way to hydrate is at the iftar meal is to ensure that you're having soups, salads. And so in, the Arab tradition, people tend to break their fast with soups and salads. And again, the salads are a really good form of minerals and electrolytes and, water as well. And then soups themselves provide good hydration, nutrients in themselves. So making sure you're doing that for sure.
Okay, so I know it's part of the prophetic tradition, right? Following the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, whenever you have your suhoor and when you break your fast is to use dates.
Yes.
Now, I know there's a lot of nutrition. Basically, the date fruit is like a power
powerhouse,
if you will.
yeah. It literally
so
is.
Can you elaborate what are the benefits of eating dates?
Dates are actually, Harvard has done research into dates and they've actually considered it a complete food. It has fiber, it has sugar, it has electrolytes, it has nutrients, it has minerals, iron, all of that.
Wow.
So, it has B vitamins actually, and B vitamins are an excellent source of energy.
Oh, wow.
It has fiber. So when you're breaking your fast, it allows you to, it allows your gut to move you know, get into motion and be able to absorb the nutrients that it will be, you know, be able to have to do in the later meals. But basically it also contains 3 types of sugars. So it contains glucose. Glucose is the first form of energy that your body uses. So as soon as you break your fast, the glucose from the dates are absorbed and your brain's actually able to function immediately and give you the immediate source of energy it needs. Then it contains fructose, and it also contains sucrose, which are both longer acting sugars. So what it does is it prevents those peaks and troughs of blood sugar levels that you get otherwise.
You're avoiding the crash, basically.
Right, exactly. So then you get that, and then it contains a special type of fiber called D-glucan, which actually allows you to feel full quicker, which in itself is a benefit, because the idea of fasting is to not be gluttonous and to eat in moderation. So when you're breaking your fast with, like, the prophetic tradition being 3 dates, or odd number, so you're filling yourself up right there. So you're increasing satiety by the fiber. And then also when you're having soups and salads, the water fills you up to some extent. And best practice is to do that and then go pray the Maghrib, the evening prayer, and then come back and then eat your meal.
So in a way, having water and having all those nutrients and the electrolytes, it's like basically having your own Gatorade.
Yep, that's what I call it. I call it the Gatorade.
Beautiful.
It's a natural Gatorade. You don't have to have that chemical-based compound, as it were. You just simply need to have your dates and water together. And actually the water allows the nutrients to be absorbed properly as well. So yeah, it's a natural Gatorade.
That's
literally
amazing.
Because it contains the sodium, potassium, which your body needs to recuperate.
So after fasting all day, like naturally your levels on all fronts just deplete throughout the day, and then eating the date just brings it back to normal.
The glucose levels, yes. But actually fasting in itself is a natural cleanse. It's a God-given cleanse. We don't need to do the detox diets or any of that. It's a natural cleanse. It actually gives your body time to repair. Because we're not eating, we're not having to use all the enzymes, our body's energy for those enzymes to break down the food and that sort of thing. So it's giving your body a time to recuperate from the regular eating that we do. So it allows your body to break down dysfunctional cells and then rebuild the things it needs to. But when it comes to eating, though, again, moderation is the key, because if you're overeating, you're going to put strain on your body.
Portion control.
Portion control is extremely important. And then, in terms of healthy weight, people in Ramadan tend to gain weight instead of actually maintaining or
Which is kind of weird,
losing the weight.
But it happens.
But that happens because we're eating sugary foods, fatty foods, all of that. And then our portions are way out of control.
Mountains.
So my suggestion is, and this is, I'm sure you can hear from my accent, I'm British. So in Britain, they've been using the plate model for many, many years now. America's just adopted it. And the best practice is to have a quarter of your plate with proteins. And those proteins should be lean proteins. So, having red meat is good, but it's hard to digest after a long day of not eating. So going for lean proteins such as chicken and fish, and particularly the fatty fishes such as salmon, tuna, ahi, things like that. They're all very beneficial. My kids are going to be having poke all Ramadan. They've already stocked up on stuff to put in the freezer so they can make their poke for their iftar meal.
Beautiful, nice.
But it's a really good way to have your omega-3 fatty acids, your EPAs, your DHAs, the good fats, and then chicken and these types of things are lean meats. But also you can do a vegetarian meal and have protein. You don't have to have meat, and give your gut a rest. You don't have to have the meats. Meats are hard to digest. So it's better to go for the vegetarian one. So what I tend to do is I make a vegetarian chili. I get the bean soup mix, which has lentils, beans, all types of legumes. Mix them all together, add your chili spice, whatever you want, and have a wonderful, wonderful, lean, low fat, relatively low carb and high protein meal. But the thing you need to remember is, the reason I'm bringing up the soup mix is because you need to, beans and legumes on their own are actually considered incomplete proteins. So you need to mix all the beans and lentils together to get what's considered a complete protein. So it would be the equivalent of having a meat option. But you're getting a lot healthier benefits because it's much higher in fiber. So you won't get the blood sugar raises that you would if you were just eating simple carbs. So stick to complex carbs. So a quarter of your plate should be complex carbs, quarter protein, and half should be vegetables and some fruit.
That is something I did notice in my own weight journey when I had to switch my diet drastically. My trainer also recommended fill up on the vegetables. And because I'm sure you know this, but it's like you can eat as like a lot of vegetables, and it's still
free foods,
right? And it still won't
low in calories,
right? Low calorie count, but it's still like you won't feel full because you can still have a large quantity of it,
right?
Until a certain point, of course,
right?
But again, if you have half, like you said, half a plate, right?
Yeah.
Of just vegetables, and then a quarter.
And you can fill up as much as you want on that, like you said, to the point where you feel full.
Right.
And you're not going to get many calories from that. In fact, you're going to get all the nutrients that we tend not to get if we're eating just carbs and protein.
Right.
So you're getting all the minerals, the vitamins, all of those things. And actually, the best thing to do is a variety of color on your plate. The more color you have, the more nutrients you'll be ingesting.
I've been noticing, like, I've been kind of putting that out there, like on my Instagram and others, like when I'm showing my meal, like I like to have it colorful because I know of the nutritional benefits. Not anything
and
in
aesthetically
specific.
It's pleasing as well.
Of course, you look
feel
at
like
it and you're like, wow, it's amazing, right?
Exactly.
Which is really, really cool. Yeah. Moving the conversation forward, I know in Ramadan, it's a time for families to come together, and it's a time for celebration of this blessed month. And of course, a big part of that is the meal, bringing everybody together. Right. Now, what do you do in a situation where you want to take care of your health because your body has a right over you, right? But you also don't want to disrespect or disappoint your host, right? When they see you that you're not eating. So what do you do in that kind of situation when they're just like, eat, and you're just like, well, I don't want to overeat because I don't want to feel gluttonous. I don't want to feel drowsy, tired. I still have to do my night prayers because it's Ramadan, a time of spirituality. How do you go about that?
And eating is spiritual. So
well, yes, of course.
We keep it spiritual if we keep it in moderation. But my advice to you is that I would say that when it comes to eating, don't disrespect your host by not taking what they offer, but take it in small quantities. So for example, my rule of thumb has always been, I won't eat a lot of dessert, but just out of respect, I'll take a small piece. So literally a piece of cake, I'll take a tiny piece of cake.
Somebody gives you a plate of kanafa or baklawa or gulab jamun or whatever, and what are you supposed to do?
Well, to be polite, especially in our culture, you cannot say no.
Right.
So take it and just eat your quantity. And it's not good to waste food. So what you could very quietly do is maybe put it back without, or put it on the side. Or rather than putting it back, you could just put it, take your small portion.
Right.
Or you can just say, I just want a small portion. You can politely say that and take very small quantities. But in Ramadan, what I will say is because it's a family-oriented sort of time, it's important to also not deprive yourself of certain things. So for example, if you want your sambusa, things like that, I like savory foods.
Yes.
So I will have it, but I'll have a small piece. I'll have one as opposed to 3.
Back to quantity control.
Right. Yeah. And then you're not going to be having it every day. So if you have it once in the week, that's okay. Yeah. And if you have a piece of dessert once in the week, that's okay. But it's how often you do it and the amount you have.
Gotcha.
So if you are going to, if you know your host is very particular about you eating, in big, particularly I know in the Arab culture, it's like eat to the point where you can't eat anymore.
You can't breathe.
Yes. So it's important to then respect your host, but then, again, take small quantities, respect them by taking that. And if it means that one day you've indulged, that's okay. But then be careful on the other dadays, because at the end of the day, we still want to be, like you said, able to function. Yeah. And if we're going to feel gluttonous or over full, then you're not going to be able to do the things that the Ramadan is about.
Right. This has all been amazing. Any other last tidbits you want to share?
One more thing I do want to say is that if you are people tend to get a lot of stomach upsets in Ramadan because they're eating over spicy food or they're eating very sweet foods. Right. So it's very important to incorporate a probiotic. So my suggestion would be dairy, if you are able to have it, or it doesn't, conflict with any of your diets. And just to bring in that part of it, the information I'm giving is very general. It doesn't relate to specific diets like the keto, paleo, things like that.
Whatever works for you.
Whatever works for you, it should be that way. But if you need to tweak it, then tweak it based on that. So for the keto diet, for example, carbs are not something that's eaten within that diet, then just tweak it by having more vegetables or having a bit more protein. But I would suggest not overdoing the fat because it will make you feel much more gluttonous. So try to avoid that. But incorporating a probiotic is important to either, natural form is best. So yogurts, kefir, things like that are very good because it sort of helps with the good bacteria in the gut and that sort of thing, keeps your gut moving as well. So
I'm a big fan of, I mean, I know myself, I am lactose intolerant.
Okay.
I do have an autoimmune disease, so I do have restrictions in my diet, but the alternative is like, you know, instead of having cow's milk, I would have sheep or goat milk because it's the protein that I'm allergic
lactose,
to,
yes.
the casein.
Oh, the
protein.
casein specifically. Okay.
Right, and so I know a lot of people have that challenge, and so I know when I was on my journey for weight loss, the first thing I was trying to take care of first was my gut health, right? And clearing that out and finding the alternatives that are still good for you, like goat or sheep milk.
Right.
Being a probiotic helps clear the gut
Definitely.
of all inflammations and things like that. So definitely
well, what it does is, I
recommend
think
that.
what is important is, like, particularly as I said in Ramadan, what happens is that your body's given a chance to recuperate, because we're not
Reset,
eating,
yeah.
and so that's when the cells regenerate at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to aid the good bacteria by providing more probiotics.
Absolutely.
So to ensure you do that.
Awesome. Alhamdulillah. This was awesome. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much for sharing this awesome stuff. And I hope you all enjoyed and learned a thing or two about, you know, what you guys can do during Ramadan. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. If y'all enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you hit that post notification down below. And Ramadan Mubarak to all those who celebrate. And I challenge those who are not of the Muslim faith to try fasting for one whole day. You can try it on your own. You don't have to tell me, but I guarantee that you will feel much better emotionally, physically, mentally, all the above. And yeah, let me know how it goes for you. I'll see y'all in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum.